everyone. Welcome to the admin preview for the Winter 18 Release Readiness Live. We are coming to you live from HQ here in San Francisco. And oh my gosh, we have so many amazing things to talk about. But before we even get to talking about any of that, I'd love to introduce myself. I'm Jillian Bruce. I'm an Admin Evangelist here at Salesforce, and I'm joined by some incredible experts today to help us talk about the admin highlights coming in Winter 18.
Thanks, Jillian. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Jacobson. I lead our product management team focused on customization of Lightning. So my job, as I see it, is to really take all of our admins out there. I'm thrilled to be with you today and make you into even more superheroes than you already are. So this is going to be fun.
And I'm Liz Skates. I am in the product management team with the Analytics Cloud. So I'm here to share with you all about reports and dashboards today. I'm excited to be part of this admin preview today.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for joining us. Now, we have so many incredible things to talk about. Before we talk about them, we have to talk about our forward-looking statement. So this is just a reminder to all of you joining us to only make purchasing decisions based on currently available features and functionality. We will be talking about some very exciting things coming down the pipe, coming on the roadmap, that will get you super excited. But remember to focus only on the stuff currently available when you're thinking about making those purchasing decisions. Okay, now we're done with that. Let's start talking about the Winter 18 release. So today we have a couple of things that we want to remind you to get involved and connect with us. So we are on Twitter, #Salesforce Live. Be sure to ask your questions there. We are actually standing by, looking at the questions you're asking, and we'll be able to ask our amazing experts here on the panel your questions and hopefully get some answers. Also on the success community. So the Release Readiness group, you can also use the tag Salesforce Live as well. And we will be getting to your questions throughout this. And if for some reason we don't answer your question during the session, don't fret. We will be paying attention to that feed and make sure that you get an answer even after the broadcast.
We're up all hours of the night, so we'll get every question answered. I'm
Salesforce
sure.
never sleeps.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud, exactly. So today we have a lot of exciting things to talk about. And before we talk about any of it, I think the first most exciting thing is our release logo. So I don't know about you all. If you have never been introduced to Astro, this is an opportunity for you to get to know Astro. Everyone who logs into a Winter 18 edition will see one of my favorite types of Astro, Yeti Astro. Ready for the winter here in the northern hemisphere. I suppose it's probably the complete opposite in the other parts of the world.
Yeah, I think you'd be pretty hot in that Yeti costume if you were down in Australia about this time.
Yeah, but we're giving some homage to that because we are in our Aloha Friday spirited shirts today.
Indeed.
Something we do at Salesforce to celebrate our Ohana, and hey, it fits with the opposite of winter up here.
Well, at least up here, it's the first day of fall, in fact, today. So
well, look
even
at
more
that.
So.
I'm obviously not fall ready, so there you go. So we have some great things to talk about. We're going to talk first about some Winter 18 features, especially for end users and admins. Some great functionality coming out. In fact, what I'm going to show you is something you can actually directly show your end users when you go back to your office, which is hopefully going to help them get excited about Winter 18. And then Eric, you're going to tell us some amazing things that are coming down the line with Lightning App Builder.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, super excited to hear about that. And then Liz, you're going to talk to us about, drumroll, the Lightning Report Builder, which is coming with Winter 18.
Yes, it's so exciting.
Super exciting. And then we'll have Q&A throughout and then some Q&A at the end as well. So let's first talk about some end user features. So there's so much coming in Winter 18, and a lot of it is focused around how we work with our data. And I think end users are going to find a lot of wins with being able to manipulate how they visualize data on a page. We've had a lot of improvements, with Lightning in general, so with Kanban and all of that. But now we have some really great list view functionality that are being added to traditional what we call list views. We also have some fun things coming with how you can interact with activity timelines, share calendars. And, of course, we all love emoji, so now we have emoji in Chatter as well. So I am actually going to go ahead and show you some of that amazing stuff in a demo here. So the first thing you're going to notice, this is my Winter 18 pre-release org. The first thing you're going to notice is, hey, it looks a little different, right? We've got this kind of blue background going on. There's less white space. There's a lot. The text actually looks better. The fonts have been adjusted. So this is a result of our user experience team getting a lot of feedback from you about Lightning and hearing about some feedback about white space and different things. This is really a user experience improvement to help you be able to see your data better and interact. Now, I know some of you admins may not be a super fan of the blue background. Don't worry. You can customize that, so you're not stuck with it. But this is what you're going to get out of the box with Winter 18. So if you've never heard me talk about Lightning before, you probably haven't known that my favorite feature in Lightning is favorites. Shocker. And in the Winter 18 release, there's a kind of minor thing that happened with favorites. We are now bringing right-click to the power of favorites. So we've been bringing right-click to different parts of the Lightning experience over the last few releases. I know I'm a huge fan of right-click because it helps me be more efficient. So now you can right-click into your favorite. So right-clicked.
Right-click.
I'm going to make up words on the podcast here. So I right-clicked into one of my favorites, which is my opportunities list view here. Now, this is a list view that you're probably pretty familiar with seeing in Lightning, but there's some new things with this list view in the Lightning experience for Winter 18 that I want to point out, and these are really great things that you can show your end users. The first thing is that we now have mass inline edit. So exciting. Woohoo! Happy flags, amazing. This is something that you've been asking for a long time. So we are so happy to bring it to the Lightning experience. I can simply check multiple line items there, and then I can go and edit. Let's say I'm going to edit the stage field for the opportunities, and I now have the option to update all 4 of those selected items. You can do this for up to 200 items in your list view experience, so this is a huge time saver.
That's
for
awesome.
your users. It is super awesome. It's something that is seemingly minor, but really a big deal in terms of productivity.
Now, like regular inline edit, the list view does still have to be a single record type, right, Jillian?
Correct. Yes. Eric, Lightning Master here. This is good. So when we save that, we can do that mass inline edit. Now, another really cool thing with list views, we can now actually clone existing list views and make them our own.
So I don't have to go back to Classic just to make a copy of a list view?
No, you don't.
Oh, that is so awesome.
It's so awesome. Makes all of our admins so happy and end users happy. So under the gear icon here, that's not right click, I can select clone. And this is going to clone that list view and give me the ability to title it. Maybe I want to have my top opportunities, because I'm going to take this list view, this cloned version, and I'm now going to adjust it, because I want to see my top opportunities in here. So I'm going to add a filter here, and this is not new with Winter, but this is an example of how you can really put that cloning of list views to good use for yourself. So we're going to say the amount is more than, let's say 100K. And now, just like that, I have saved a new list view based on the existing list view. I didn't have to rebuild that from scratch, which is really handy. Now, another thing that has come with Winter 18, and I know this is like, maybe not super, you would hear this in every other release readiness session you're going to get, but we have text wrapping with list views.
Wow.
So let's say I resize one of these columns here, and maybe I've even got a couple fields that are really, really long, right, in my records, and I want to be able to see that without having to click into it. Well, now you can simply click this drop down, click wrap text, and oh my goodness, look at that. You can now have the entire field appear in your list view, which is really, really handy. I know. Yay, smiles and clappies and flag waving for that is huge. But that's not all. So Winter 18 also comes with this idea of the org actually, Salesforce looks at your list view and suggests a suggested column width. If for some reason you resized your columns and you want to go back to what the regular column width was, go down to the gear icon, reset column widths, and it will restore it back to the original column width. So if you're manipulating data and doing a bunch of different things and maybe your list view looks really wonky, you can go back to basics. It's a good tool to have. So another great thing that's come with kind of this list view experience is I like to think of calendar as a type of list view experience. It's the list view experience for anything with a date. It's also one of my top 3 favorite things in Lightning, along with Kanban, so favorites, calendar and Kanban. When I go into calendar here, there's some new functionality that we have with Winter 18 is the ability to share your calendar with another user. So my events calendar is the events that I have that I'm working on. For example, I've been working on this release readiness, right? So I've got some events in here related to that. If I wanted to share that with the colleague that I'm working with, I can click this drop down here, share the calendar, and I can select, oh, Astro. Astro's going to help me out with this project, so I'm going to share my calendar with Astro. And just like that, Astro will then be able to go into their own Salesforce instance, and they'll be able to add the shared calendar right there that I've shared with them. So that's very cool, but there's one more other very cool thing about manipulating and seeing your data from an end user point of view, is we now have the ability to interact with the activity timeline in a whole new way. So if I go into an account here, again using my favorites, you'll see on the right-hand side I've got this activity timeline, right? Well, now we have the ability to actually filter this activity timeline. We can filter by the type of activity that's taking place. So maybe I only want to see calls and events, and I can even filter by time. So maybe I only want to know about the stuff that's happening in the next 7 days. And just like that, in the activity timeline, I see the information that I care about. So this is really useful if you've got a lot of activity maybe happening on an account. You can have different people, different teams caring about different things, being able to go through and manipulate and see that data. All right, so now to my favorite part, Chatter. I love Chatter, and Chatter has gotten some really cool stuff with Winter 18. And the first cool thing, because I love emojis, is our emojis. So I'm going to go ahead and put an update in there and talk about how happy I am that emojis are in Chatter, in Lightning, which is super exciting.
Do you have a favorite emoji, Jillian?
Oh, that's really hard to pick. I do like the octopus emoji. It's one of my favorites.
That's my daughter's favorite as well.
Really?
She says, more pulpo, please.
Oh, see? And she's even doing it in another language.
Exactly.
She's all over it.
Personally, I'm a fan of the robot.
The robot's pretty good. I mean, Lightning. Who can go wrong with the Lightning emoji? So
that's true, too.
Do you have a favorite emoji, Liz?
I like lightning personally.
Oh, look at that. See, there we go. We got some Lightning lovers in the audience and on the panel. So another great thing that's come with Winter 18 in Chatter is you now have the ability to set an out of office in your Chatter profile, which is super cool. So I don't know about, you probably have some super users that have found a way to hack their way to do this by changing their actual name in Chatter, which was okay, but it slowed things down a little bit. It was a little clunky. It was a workaround. Now we actually have the ability right here on our Chatter profile to select out of office, just like you would do in an email application. You can set dates. I'm going to go out of office today, guys, just so you know.
Bye.
I'm out of here. And then when you save that, it actually shows up right next to your name. So whenever you're posting anything in Chatter, your colleagues will know why you're maybe not responding immediately, because hopefully if you're on vacation, you're not checking Chatter.
And does it automatically go away when you're back?
It does automatically go away when you're back. So that's why when you set those dates, it'll actually say, oh, they're back now. Let's take it off.
Awesome.
So another great thing in Chatter, the last thing I'm going to show you before we get to some more exciting stuff, is the ability to pin posts in a group. So we've had broadcast ability before, which shows up on the left-hand side. Now we have the ability to actually pin a post that we want everyone to see right when they come into our Chatter group. And so just like that, it's super easy. It's a way to really make sure everyone sees the most important information you want them to see at the top. Maybe you've got a good Chatter brag you want everybody to check out. So that's some of my favorite new things that are coming for end users with the Winter 18 release. And I really, really hope that all of you kind of take this demo. You can show it to your end users. I will actually be posting the steps that I did in this demo. It's just a regular pre-release org, so you can all absolutely do it. So it'll be posted on admin.salesforce.com early next week. But that's not all. I showed you some end user features, but we have a lot of other really exciting things happening with more admin customization features. So we have Eric here to talk to us about the Lightning App Builder and some incredible features coming with the Winter 18 release for admins.
Indeed. We've been working on App Builder for a while now. In fact, the Winter 18 release is in fact the 10th release of App Builder.
Wait, 10 years?
Not 10 years, not 10 years, but 10 releases. App Builder predates Lightning Experience, in fact. It first began life building apps for Salesforce 1.
I do remember seeing it back in 2014.
Yeah,
it was
we showed
very
it off
exciting.
Dreamforce 14.
We sure did.
And so we've made a lot of progress in these 10 releases, and we're really excited is that with this release, we are now bringing out a feature we call dynamic Lightning pages.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
It is exciting because what it's going to allow you to do is for any of your record detail pages in Lightning Experience, so this is if you're looking at an opportunity or a case or a custom object, perhaps you've built a job tracking system and you've got job applicants and you want an applicant and you want to track where they're at. Any of those record detail pages that you have in Lightning Experience can now be dynamic. And what I mean by this is that the components on the page can actually hide or show based on data from that record.
Wait a second. So that's crazy. That's really exciting. This is a lot of power that now we have as admins to customize things.
Right. There's no code involved in this. The admin is able to define filters that will control whether or not these components should appear. And you're able to filter these components based on the data from that record. And it can be one of 4 data types. It can be a text field, a number, a Boolean, or a pick list.
What's a Boolean? I'm
So
an
true
admin.
and
I don't
false.
know. Okay, there
True
we go.
and false.
Thank you.
Checkbox. Nice
I
and easy.
understand that. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the beauty of it as well is that you may be thinking to yourself, well, but I didn't list your favorite data type. Maybe you really like dates. Well, the good news is that as long as you use a formula field, if it can return one of those other 4 types, we can handle it that way. So if you can decide you want to make it conditional on whether or not the opportunity is expected to close in the next 2 weeks, well, you can't make a filter that's based on the date of the next 2 weeks, but you could create a formula that's basically going to return true or false of will the close date be in 2 weeks? And then that component can appear or disappear. And maybe you want to motivate your salesperson to get it across the line. Or you talked about you were filtering down your opportunities and you wanted a list of your high value opportunities. Perhaps you want to show some extra components to help close those big deals.
All the help I could get to close those deals, the better. Yeah.
So exactly. The idea behind this is really to make our users even more productive. We can help them focus on the content that is most appropriate for the record that they're looking at. And that's the idea behind these dynamic Lightning pages. So I'm really excited about that. We'll get to a demo of it in just a minute, but there's one more feature I want to talk about first, which is the ability to have custom page templates.
Ooh.
And so now this is an opportunity where all our admins out here are going to get to become really good friends with their developers.
Yay, we love friends.
Exactly.
Cloudy and Cody are friends.
Right.
We're all in Trailhead, Johanna together.
So Cody's going to go and build us a custom page template, which in fact is under the covers a Lightning component. It's a special Lightning component that describes how the page should be laid out. So it divides up the screen into a set of regions that we're able to then use inside of App Builder and add components to. So as an admin, the beauty of it is that we don't need to understand how that template was built. We're able to just consume it as if it was any of the other standard templates, but now it can do new and powerful things that our developer has built for us.
So now we don't always have to have the big main screen and the sidebar. We can have other options.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly. And so we gave you 8 standard templates that you could choose from, but that might not meet exactly what you're looking for. Now you've got that power. So let's take a look at that, in fact.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so here we are on my demo environment that's showing Winter 18, and continuing on from what Jillian was showing, I'm starting out here on a home page. And now you may look at this and say, wow, this really does not look like the standard home page. It's been pretty heavily customized, in fact, because I want to talk about a couple of the great new components that are available in the Winter 18 release. So if I go and bring up App Builder here real quickly here, let's go ahead and edit our page. What we'll see is that we've got a couple of new components that we're featuring on this home page. First off, you'll notice at the top of the screen here that there is a list view component. So this is in fact the filter list component that we've had for the last several releases has now gotten a major upgrade. And so if I take my list component and I drag it over to the narrow part of the screen, it'll look like it had before in summer and earlier. But when I go and put it onto the wide area of the screen there, it actually now is a full, proper list view on a home page in App Builder.
That is so cool. I know that, again, this is something that people are going to be super excited about. I'm already excited about, where can we put that in our own little instance?
Exactly, right? And then you might happen to notice, what's that thing below the list view? Well, it looks kind of like a bunch of report charts, but it is in fact dashboard as its own custom component, or its own standard component.
That is so cool.
Yes, indeed. So this has been a close collaboration with the reporting team
Yes.
and the App Builder team to make this possible, that we now have dashboards as a standard component.
That's so awesome.
Something that we've been hearing requests from our admins around the globe asking us, hey, charts are nice, but I really want my dashboard on my homepage.
They look so pretty in Lightning. We want to make them, you want to be able to put them wherever you want, right?
Exactly. So I just wanted to show a couple of those quick things first, and now let's actually jump back. Let's jump back over and look at really the meat of the demo here. So now let's imagine that what we're in is we're looking at a service console here for our automotive company here called Electron Motors, and they want to make sure that all of their customers are having a great experience with their new electric cars. So we're going to jump in and let's take a look at some of our cases here. You can see here we've got our list view. Jillian already showed us some really powerful things that we could do to format that. I could wrap my text. I could do things like that. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to actually jump in and take a look at a particular case. And I'm going to click on this particular case here for Sean Forbes. And the first thing I want you to notice is that rather than just loading it as the case number here, the tab in my workspace is in fact pulling up the account for Sean Forbes.
And hang on a second here, Eric. This looks a little bit different than the standard Lightning app. Where are all my tabs across the top?
Well, this is a console, Jillian.
Console app? Tell us more.
Because in Lightning, any custom app you build, you have the choice. It can be a console app if you'd like it to be. So as an admin, when you create your application, you have a choice of navigation styles. A standard nav will give you tabs across the top that represent all of your objects, or the console nav will make the tabs across the top workspaces so that you can actually work with multiple records and very quickly and easily switch back and forth between them.
So cool. Console apps are amazing, and I don't understand now why people would not build a console app.
I love the console
productivity time saver, fantastic.
It remembers what tabs you had open, so like at the end of the day, you can close your browser, come back in the next morning, it will remember where you were.
Yeah, and then you're not, in multiple browsers in or multiple tabs in your browser. It's all within the context of Salesforce in that single browser tab.
Exactly. I cleaned up my window for the demo here. I normally have like 20 or 30 tabs open at any given time.
It's true. I've seen it.
So let's take a look a little bit here. So as I was mentioning, what I clicked on was a case, but you'll notice that it automatically opened it as a sub-tab of the related account. So that's a powerful capability that's available now as part of the console. But if I were to go look at that, so if I click back over to the person account here for Sean, we'll see here in the highlights panel, it's telling me that he's a VIP. So Sean's a really important customer to Electron here. But when I'm actually looking at his case, I don't get any sense of that. And the agent could then perhaps have missed that very important detail and is making sure that while we love all our customers, we definitely want to make sure that their VIPs are getting their car serviced as easily as possible.
Getting some extra love there. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's see if we can make this a little bit smarter, a little bit more responsive to those types of things. So I'm going to take both of those new capabilities and bring them together. So I actually have another template that I've already started working on. So my developer has helped me build a template that really captures the look and feel of Electron Motors. And it has a couple of special regions on here that I can expand and collapse so that I can see information when I want it. I can push it out of the way when I don't need it. But then I also have the ability here that I can go and I can bring an additional component on. And so let's say I want to bring on a component here that's going to be my Electron Motors VIP tracker component. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to drag it over, and I'm going to place it over here on the right-hand side. Now, that's showing me the VIP status. Of course, we love all our customers, but they might not all truly be VIPs. So the last thing we want to do is have that VIP component saying, sorry, this customer is not a VIP. That's not
yet. Yeah.
That wouldn't be awesome, right?
Womp womp. Yeah.
So I think what we can do is we can make it a little bit better. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to select the component. And you'll notice over here on the right, in our property editor, we have a new capability here saying set component visibility. And this is where we can define filters that it will allow us to determine whether or not that component should be shown. So I'm going to say, I want to add a filter. We'll pick our filter here. Whoops. And now we can select our field. And this one, in this case, is our VIP customer. And that equals true.
Boolean, right?
Boolean.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Learn something new every day.
Boolean logic. It's just saying basically, is it true or false? If it had been a pick list field, it would have allowed us to select any of the values from that pick list, also using a drop down. If it was a text field or a number field, I would just get to type in the value, much like as if I was filtering on a list view.
Right.
Should look very familiar to creating filters on list views. And so now then, when I've done that, you'll notice on the actual component, there's a little orange eyeball icon now on the component, a little badge, if you will.
It's watching the page.
Well, it's letting you know that there's a visibility rule. And I mean, we like badges, right?
Oh, we like to badge all the things, yes.
Exactly. So now we're even badging components. I think that's awesome.
That is very, very cool.
Okay. So we've got that one badged. And the one other thing that we want to do now, the other thing I want to show you, because there's a really powerful new standard component as well that we've introduced for record pages with the winter release. And that is a component called the Related List Quick Links component.
Okay, this component is amazing. I think this is going to absolutely blow everyone's minds because it's a huge time saver and it makes admins, that experience, to be able to put that right in the page. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Eric, tell us more.
Remember those little links you had across the top of the record page in Classic and you've been perhaps missing those in Lightning? Well, we missed them too, but we thought about how can we bring them back and make them even better. So we've made them a component that we can now drag and drop and add to our Lightning page like any of the other components. But this one's actually got some really nice capabilities on it. So I can actually bring it on and I can place it on different parts of the page. You'll notice that the quick links actually reformat. It actually fills the space that's available there. So if I were to go and put it over on the right-hand side, it'll actually reflow and it becomes a nice single column list for me. So I've got some really nice automatic behavior for it. And now when I go and save my page, we'll save it. And now we need to make it so that other people can see it. So we need to activate our page. So
Most important step.
Most important step, exactly. We got to wire it into the system. And in this case, we want this page to not just be the org default. We actually want this one to be specific to a particular application. So we're going to make this one be the app default. And you'll see here that we now have a list of our Lightning apps. So we can make this page be specific to one or more of our Lightning apps. For those of you that are maybe not familiar with Lightning apps are custom apps that are specific to Lightning. So they're like all your classic custom apps, but they're even better.
Because they have a lot more functionality in Lightning. Lightning apps can have things like notes and company highlights, stuff and custom branding that we don't get with the typical classic
They
app.
get branding, they get the utility bar, and they get this ability to have pages unique to the app, so you can really help people focus on the task at hand. So I'm going to pick my Electron service application here, and then I will go ahead and activate that. We'll confirm that yes, in fact, that is what I want them to see. It'll tell me here that my activation settings have changed. And now when I switch back over here, we'll just do a quick refresh of our browser window. And what we'll see now is that we'll in fact see there is our custom page. We can see here that Sean is in fact a VIP, so his VIP status component shows up there. The case history that's showing up here now is something that I can expand and collapse. So if I don't want to see it at times, I can actually completely collapse that down. And that's not a feature of the component, but that's a behavior of this particular custom template that my developer built for me.
Yeah, so I'm really getting excited about the idea of how admins can really kind of design the template that they then want their developers to help them build.
Absolutely.
The ability to collapse and expand, having different rows and columns, that is pretty powerful.
Exactly. I think it's a really powerful thing. And check this out. So here's my related list quick links on the right-hand side. And when I go hover over that case history, look at that. I get what I get there is I get an overlay. And notice it is showing me all the columns of my related list. So I can see up to 10 columns of the related list. I can see up to 10 rows. And I can even then from there still then drill in and get the full related list if I need access to it.
That's so cool.
It's really powerful.
That is very, very cool.
So those are just a few of the exciting things, but I think that the Winter 18 release for admins, especially the customization they can do with the 10th release of App Builder, is pretty amazing.
10 releases and only getting better every time, right?
Indeed.
Well, congratulations on the 10th release of App Builder, Eric.
Thank you, Jillian.
So we talked a little bit about reporting dashboards, but Liz, we want to hear so much more. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's coming with Winter 18 in analytics land?
I would be glad to. There's been so much, and I know that we've been anticipating a lot of these, so I wanted to just give you an overview of everything. There's been a lot. Winter 18.
And it's been a while since we've talked about analytics in a big way, so I am sure you have been cooking up all kinds of amazing things.
Yes, and we've got a long list of things that we want to get to. We've been doing a lot, but then there's also plenty more that people have been asking for, so there's plenty more in the future as well. But for Winter 18, if you look here in the slide, I have a summary of a lot of the things that are coming in for dashboards. Now, Eric had already showed you that one of the new things in Winter 18 is that you can actually have your dashboard available now as a component in the app builder for you to put on a page, like your home page or a record page if you want.
So cool.
Yeah, so that's great. And then another thing we're going to talk about is you might be familiar with report subscriptions, which you could subscribe to up to 5 different reports, and then you can get those reports emailed to you. Well, now we're going to have that same concept apply to dashboards, so that you can subscribe to up to 5 dashboards and get those emailed to you as well.
Yay, automation.
But that's in pilot status for Winter 18, so we're still looking for any participants that want to help us with giving us feedback in terms of improvements before we actually GA dashboard subscriptions. We also have a lot of chart configurations so that people can get a lot cooler charts available in their dashboards now. So people have been asking for more values to be shown in their donut chart, so you can see what the actual values in each slice of your donut.
I like donuts.
I know, now I want a donut. But yes, donut charts are amazing.
So donuts and pies are the same thing. Like, people are used to looking at pies in Classic, and then in Lightning, now it's donuts, and they're like, but I like my pies. And I'm like, well, donuts are really kind of the same thing. People are like,
We just took the middle out. It's cool.
That's all we did. We took the middle out.
Healthier? I think if you eat a whole pie, it's probably a lot worse for you than eating one donut. But that's just my opinion.
I personally love donuts. I don't see like how a donut gives you anything less than a pie, personally. And then another thing is like our metrics. So we had been abbreviating a lot of the numbers. Sometimes like if you have really big sales numbers, like what if you're closing like $100 million worth of sales, we actually used to abbreviate it to like 100M. Well, now people were like, well, we actually want to see the full number. So if you're closing this quarter $17,527,771 worth of business, then that full number can be displayed there on that metric.
Every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts on those, and as well as on your gauge charts as well. And then a lot of requests came in for being able to make edits on your tables and in your dashboards. And so now you can actually edit and show chatter photos on your legacy.
Ooh.
I call them legacy tables. You'll know why later. But on the tables that you're used to in Classic, they can show up in dashboards. You can edit them. You can say, I want to see chatter photos. I also want to do conditional highlighting, so I can, like for a sales leaderboard table, I could, highlight the people who are doing well in green, and then like the people who are not quite hitting their quota, you can highlight in red maybe. And then a lot of improvements in combo charts that people have been asking for, so now you can do a line-by-line chart. And then I had referred to those Classic tables as legacy tables. Well, in Winter 18, we're also introducing a second type of table you can add to your dashboards, and they are called Lightning tables.
Yay, Lightning tables.
Lightning tables.
Lightning makes me happy.
They're in beta status for Winter 18, but every org is defaulted on to have these Lightning tables. And what's cool about these Lightning tables is that you can have up to 10 columns in your table.
So just like those related lists.
Yes, 10 columns.
Look at that consistent experience across multiple things in an org. Amazing.
And the flexibility there with those Lightning tables too is you can choose any fields you want that are available in that report type. So it's not constrained to what fields were available in the report that you're pulling from. You can choose different fields. So it's pretty darn awesome. It's beta. It's already defaulted on in Winter 18, so check it out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Those are some incredible improvements.
Yeah. And then I'm going to show you this in the demo later, but folder management. People have been asking, well, I've got all these reports and dashboards in Lightning, but I want to organize them in folders, and I want to share those folders with people. So you used to have to revert to Classic to go modify the sharing settings on your folders.
Wah, wah.
But now you can actually stay in Lightning and do that.
Yay, Lightning!
Hey, Lightning!
There's a caveat with this. Folder sharing, Lightning does the folder sharing in this newer model that we call enhanced folder sharing.
Ooh.
And so enhanced folder sharing has been around since like the Summer 13 release. But any orgs that were created before Summer 13 don't automatically have this newer version of folder sharing. It wasn't quite as granular in terms of how you could grant access to your folders. So if your org is older than Summer 13, you'll have to turn on that folder sharing in order for you to use this folder sharing sharing option in Lightning.
So it's just flipping a switch then. You can
It
get
is.
access
So
to
if you go into Setup under Reports and Dashboards, there's an option for you to turn it on in your org.
Great.
And then you can see how that changes. It gives you more granularity in terms of view or edit or manage access to your Reports and Dashboard folders.
Yay, people are going to be so excited about that.
And then last but not least, I'm going to be spending a lot of time showing you the Lightning Report Builder, which is in beta.
Yay!
In the Winter 18 release. Yay. So it's been a long time coming. We've been working on this for multiple releases, but it's still in beta status. And so it doesn't have all the features that you will need in Report Builder, but I'll be sharing with you what it looks like so far today. And I'll spend a little bit more time kind of giving you more details about like what our philosophy was when we were trying to build this Report Builder.
Excellent.
All right. So with that in mind, before we go to the roadmap, I am going to switch over to the demo here.
Yes, we want to see it in action.
So I can show it to you.
So exciting.
Yes. All right, so I'm looking at a dashboard here, and this is just a screenshot for you so that you can see some of the new enhancements in dashboard. So you can see on my donut chart, I can see the individual values for each donut slice. I can see the full value on a metric or on the gauge. I'm able to edit the legacy tables to show chatter photos and conditional highlighting. I can create my line-by-line charts. And at the bottom, I've also added a Lightning table, which has many, many columns. So that's available on the dashboard. Now, I also have available to me, if I go to see the list of folders on my homepage, there is an action for me to share any folders with a list of users. So right now, this particular folder is only shared with me. It tells me who has access to it. And right now, I can manage this folder, but I can share this folder so that other people on my team, let's say Anusha and Marco, let's say, have edit access. And then I could also not only share with users, but say maybe for public groups, I want to share with anyone who's also an internal user. So you have a lot of different options also to share with anyone in certain roles or anyone under a particular role.
You can share any way you like.
Anywhere. That level of granularity is what's available in this enhanced folder sharing, which is why you need to turn it on. And Lightning is very focused on giving you that level of granularity.
Awesome.
All right. And so now I'm going to switch over to show you the new Lightning Report Builder.
Yay! I'm so excited to see this.
So I'm going to walk you first, though, through how to turn it on for your org, because the Lightning Report Builder, because it's in beta status in winter, is not automatically on. You have to decide to turn it on for your org, and you also have to decide which users have access to this Lightning Report Builder.
So Liz, remind us what beta means, because I know that sometimes we have features that are pilot, beta, generally available.
Yes.
Give us a refresher.
Okay, so there's different statuses. Generally available means that it's marketable. It's got all the features that we want in it. Essentially, for anyone to use. Beta is kind of one step before GA. So within a couple releases, if you have a feature in beta status, within a couple releases, it'll be ready to be in GA release. But in beta, it's not quite ready available. It doesn't have all the functionality we want yet, and you might run into some bugs. And so in that sense, like, we're not going to force this feature on you, and that's why it's an opt-in at this point for you to evaluate. And because it's not GA yet, I personally really want everyone to try it so that you can give me your feedback, and so that you can tell me what else you need most importantly in it in order for you to use it once it is GA.
Yeah, I mean, that feedback we get from people who are early adopters and try this stuff out is invaluable, because it helps us learn, oh, that's how they want to use this.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
So yeah, make Liz's life easier by testing this out and playing with the report builder.
Okay. Yes. But thank you for that question. So yes, beta status. So now I'll show you, if you go into Setup, and you can search for Reports and Dashboards. Under this section, now, Lightning Report Builder also saves reports using this enhanced folder sharing. So it's very important that you turn on enhanced folder sharing if you're an older org in order for you to turn on the Lightning Report Builder. So folder sharing as well as the Lightning Report Builder, you need the enhanced folder sharing. I don't have that here on this demo org because this is a newer org. So if you're a newer org, you already have it. You don't have a setting to turn it on or off. So under Setup and Reports and Dashboards, there is a section under Reports and Dashboards where you'll see that there's a checkbox for enabling the Lightning Report Builder beta. Make sure that that checkbox is checked. And you'll see that the dashboard, the Lightning tables beta was already default on. But make sure that the Lightning Report Builder beta is on, and now you've turned it on for your org. Now that's only the first step though. The second step is for you to decide who in your org should be using the Lightning Report Builder beta. And you'll see later that I don't think there's much risk in having a lot of people who create reports have access to this beta, because you still have access to the classic report builder, even with the beta. So if you go back to setup, under your users, you can either add to their particular profile, like if you were to go to a particular, any profile, any users with that profile that you think should have access to the report builder, there is a setting for the Report Builder Lightning experience that you can check the box for them to have that. So you can do it by profile. You could also do it by permission set.
We love permission sets as admins. This is how we talk about enabling Lightning experience as well, right?
Yes.
Like using that permission set to layer on that accessibility so you don't have to go profile by profile and user by user.
Exactly. And like if you have users on a standard profile, like those aren't editable profiles, and so maybe permission sets might be the way for you to give them access to that beta. So if you go under system permissions for that for the permission set, then there's also the Report Builder Lightning experience checkbox for you to give that to any users who have that permission set.
Awesome.
So now with those two things done, it's on for your org, it's on for a particular set of users. Then now when they go into, if I go over to my reports tab, then I will see, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see that there's two ways that you can create a new report. There's like the standard new report button, and then there's another button called New Report Salesforce Classic.
No, we don't want that button.
So New Report used to just launch the embedded Classic Report Builder. With this beta, the New Report button will actually launch you into the beta of the new Lightning Report Builder, but then you still have the option to use the embedded Classic Builder because that still has more of the functionality that you want. But today I want to show you what it would be like now if you use the new Lightning Report Builder.
So that's the new coolness button.
That's the new coolness button, and we want to default that, and that's what you want to be using on a day-to-day basis. And before I go into there, though, I just want to give you an overview of what our goals were with this Lightning Report Builder. So it wasn't just to port over the classic report builder over to Lightning. One of the goals we had was, well, we want to reinvent this experience of creating a report, and we want to learn our lessons from how people had been using it in Classic. And one thing we wanted to do was make sure that report building is easy enough such that anyone who needs to create a report can do so. So I know admins might have had to do a lot of report creating in sales ops, but perhaps those reports that you're creating are really meant for managers who could, like for a lot of their basic reports, they could actually do it themselves and not have to bother you. You know, and sometimes it's like, you know, they might have to queue up their command, their request to you as an admin and say, oh, I need a report on this, and this, and then could you just like send it to me and set it up for me? And that might work, but you've got a lot of other things to do as an admin.
You have about like 10 million jobs, right?
Yes. And so if it's a basic enough report that they should be able to do it by themselves, why not make it easy enough for them to do it by themselves anyways? If they're already in Salesforce, they can do it for themselves. So our goal was to make it easier and faster for anyone in Salesforce to create their own reports.
Awesome.
So in this beta, we're not going to be showing you new features that necessarily weren't available in Classic about creating a report. It's just about making it easier and faster. And so as we go through this, I'd love for you to let me know, hey, you know, this is great in making things faster and easier and more productive for me. Or if there's other areas where you would like more optimization, let us know, because that's what we want to do, is we want to make it easier and faster for you.
Yeah, so that's the ask. Everyone try this out and let Liz know what you think.
Yes. Yeah, and I want to know, like, because this is what we're building and we want to make sure that you guys use it. So once I create a new report, I still get to choose what report types are available to me. So I'm just going to choose, let's see, the opportunities report type. And this is the new Lightning
Look
Report
at that,
Builder.
it's so pretty.
So you get this report grid, and you get like all the default columns that you would for the report type, just like you used to, and then you still get a preview, so you get to see what kind of data is available for that report type by default. What you might notice now is that there's a left panel area. I'm going to call that the outline panel that's available to you right away. It's populated with all those columns that are by default available for that report type. Some people don't like the default columns. There's this trash can icon right here that that you're able to click on, so you can actually delete that and add your own ones. There's a drop down here, a text box, so I can start typing in any other fields that I might want to add to this column, but you might not want to type it in. You could actually use this fields panel. And there is a little bit of an error, but we know about it.
It's beta.
It's beta. It's beta, folks. We are working on that. We know about that issue. But you can open up the fields pane, and now you can browse through the list of fields that are available to you in that report type, just like that were available to you in Classic. And the one thing that we did here is that people love drag and drop. So you can always still drag and drop. So you can say, hey, I want to, well, let's say I wanted lead source in here, so I can drag it over to the columns panel, and it'll show up in the list of columns here, and it will also show up in the report grid at the end. I can drag and drop from even within this outline panel, like to reorder.
Ooh, cool.
I like that, to reorder. And then if I want to delete anything, like I can click the X's right here. So that's meant to be a lot faster for you to kind of format your report. I think people are used to like control and holding down, clicking on different columns in Classic so that they can move things around. I personally think it's a lot faster to just drag and drop within this outline area and click X. And then you can also choose to group your rows. Ooh. So what does that mean? So like a lot of you admins, when you're creating reports, you're used to like deciding what format of a report. Like, is it a tabular, is it a summary, or is it a matrix report? That concept doesn't exist now in the Lightning Report Builder, because
you don't have to figure that out beforehand. That's so exciting.
So, and that's part of us trying to decide, well, do you really need to understand these 3 words in order to create a report? You shouldn't have to, right? And so that's to make it easier. And so you could say, well, I want to group my report by who owns it, let's say. So you could take the opportunity owner field and drag it to this area called group rows. And now you'll see.
That was awesome.
In my report grid, look what happened. Everything it's all grouped by whoever owns it. Now, admins who know this know that now it became a summary report when it was a tabular report before, but there's no mention of that here in the Lightning Report Builder because you don't really need to know. You're just deciding how you want it grouped within your report. So now I have it grouped by row. What if I want to group it by column as well? So let's say I want to group it by the type, and I can go to group it by columns. And now it becomes what we know as a matrix report.
Look at that.
But it's not necessarily mentioned as such. It's just formatted the way you want it to be.
So much more intuitive.
Yes.
I remember when I first started learning reports, I was overwhelmed by trying to figure out what is the difference between these 3 different report types, and I am so confused. Eventually I figured it out because I had to, but this makes so much more sense.
Exactly. So there's...
Bend the tool to the way your brain works as opposed to the opposite.
It's a lot easier to do that. Yeah, brain doesn't bend as easily at all.
So that's probably like the coolest thing is an innovation in the way that you can build your reports. It's not the new a different feature that you're not used to in Classic. It's just an easier way to build those same reports. You can also, if you see over here, there's actually a tab, I guess, to go look at the filters that are applied. I didn't add any filters so far for this report. These are the standard filters that you get for this particular report type, and it tells me how many filters there are. I can add my own filters, though. I can say, hey, I'm looking for all opportunities that belong to particular types, and then I'm also looking for any opportunities that are greater than a certain value.
Tell me about that lock checkbox I see there.
Yes, talk to us about locked filters.
Ooh, locked versus unlocked. So it's actually become a very popular feature. So this is available just in Lightning, not in Classic, so that you can define, for the filters that you define, you can decide if they're locked or unlocked. And that means as the report creator, you've decided what this report needs to return and what filters need to be applied. But if you say that it's unlocked, that means that anyone who views this report is free to change the values for that filter. And so they can get a different subset of data for that particular report. And people love that flexibility. And that potentially can reduce the number of reports you need to create, because then multiple people can use the same report but just apply different filters for them.
And they won't change your core report.
And they won't be editing your core report. They're just making those on-the-fly edits to those filters on the run page. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then now, if I've defined a couple of my own filters, there's also that ability for me to add filter logic. It might also be known from the classic world as Boolean filter logic.
There's that word again.
There's that word again.
So in this
Can't
case,
escape it.
so in this case, by default, all the filters are ANDed together so that the report needs to meet all the filter criteria. But you could, decide, well, it only needs to meet one of the criteria. So I could say 1 or 2. I can nest my different filter logic in different ways. So that's available as well. And then you can also, if you'll see at the bottom right here, there's toggles, so you can actually look at detail rows or not. I wanted to show you how I can do some summarization. So let's say I wanted to sum everything by the amount for the opportunities. And then so now you can show row counts as well or not, and detail rows or not, subtotals or not.
It's just such an easier way of interacting with report than this classic report builder. I mean, you did all of that so fast.
Yes.
Versus clicking multiple things and doing multiple changes to a report in classic. I'm just envisioning, I'm like,
let's be honest, it was trial and error.
Right. Did it work?
You went through the different options. Wait, did I want a summary or did I want a matrix?
The dashboard isn't looking right. Let me go change that again.
It's kind of like the USB cable. It can only go 2 ways, yet it still takes 3 times to actually plug it into your laptop.
Yes, Eric, tell us more about your problems. No.
Well, and then you don't have to read the manual either, because you can just figure it out right
It's
here.
so much more intuitive. I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then here, because it's really kind of implicit here, but once you've grouped, you have at least one row grouping, then now you can add a chart to your report if you want, and there's by default one right there. You have the same options.
Pretty lightning report charts.
Yep, all these different options available to you. And then people have been asking for this a lot in Lightning because we had been using the classic builder within Lightning, but you couldn't run your report without saving it first.
Right.
And so guess what? With this Lightning report builder, I haven't saved yet.
The run
I'm going to click the run button. And there it is.
Yay. Back up and running.
So yeah. And then I can go back and edit and still have my working copy of the report that I was looking at earlier. Let's see, what else did we have available? Let's see. I told you about you can still do drag and drop to resize within the report grid, but I showed it within the outline panel. I think those are all the major areas I wanted to show you guys in the report builder.
It's amazing. I mean, I can't wait to see the uproarious feedback on the Twitter sphere and the success community. You're going to get mobbed at Dreamforce. So everyone, this is Liz. Make sure you mob her at Dreamforce.
I'm happy to talk to anyone who wants to talk about the report builder. And yeah, I truly do want to get feedback on this because we want to make it usable for you. You will notice that there are some things that are not yet available in the beta that we are working very hard to get available to you very soon in the GA release. People have been asking to be able to group by week or month, and that's not yet available in the beta, but we're working hard to get it in the GA. People want their formulas and bucketing and all that, and that's all on the list as well.
Working on it. Yeah, speaking of what you're working on, I knew you were going to share some roadmap stuff with us.
Oh, yes.
So I think we got the slide up now. But
yeah.
So the goal is to take this GA by?
Yeah. Okay. So looking back at the roadmap slide, you're right. We want a GA and we're targeting the spring release.
Woo woo.
Yep. So, and GA would mean that, yes, this would be generally available and it could replace Classic. And, so that's what our goal is for Spring 18, is to GA this Lightning Report Builder and have all the basic functionality that you need to create those reports. And so that's why it's so important that I get your feedback now. Try the beta now and let me know what you need in there.
Because this is Lightning only, right?
Yes, this builder is only available in Lightning.
So one more reason to switch to Lightning.
And if you needed another one, and even, and this is also a really good note. So even if you're not on Lightning yet, maybe your org hasn't made the switch or isn't quite ready to make the switch, as an admin, you got to just get into Lightning and start working with it, because you get to be that ambassador of change, right? Yes. You get to be the one to say, hey, there's this thing called Lightning, and look how easy it is to build a report. Look how easily it is for me to customize a page. This is the future, and let me be that ambassador to bring that to the organization. So again, I really want to make that clear. Admins, if you are not using Lightning yet because your org is not ready, don't wait. Just get in there and start playing around. Winter 18 is a great reason to do that because of the report builder, because of dynamic pages. This is really, it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Huge opportunity.
Yep. And also, just referring back to our roadmap, there's a long list of things that we're trying to add that is based on your feedback so far about everyone saying, hey, we still need joined reports in Lightning. We're working on that too. Some things are easier to get in faster than others. Joined reports is a long time coming too. We're working on a pilot for that. It's not going to be in Spring 18 yet, but we're working on it for shortly after a pilot. People wanted more ways to handle their subscriptions, and as an admin, you want more power than just the 5 subscriptions available to you. You want to be able to subscribe other people. So we're working on that. People want to be able to get the reports as CSVs or PDFs in those subscriptions. All of that. It's all on the list. We're trying to get to it.
Long list.
A long list.
But seriously, that's amazing innovation, Liz. I am so excited to see what people start doing with it. It's an incredible, powerful tool. And to see all of the other great things coming in the winter release, because there is so much more. So just to give you a little sample, this is really a call to action to have you all join the rest of Release Readiness that's happening next week. It's broken down cloud by cloud, and they'll go into more detail about some of the really exciting things coming. So stuff I wanted to highlight for admins. Eric showed you this in the demo, the opening the related record in console. So you can preset that definition for your users to say, hey, when they open up an account, I also wanted to open up the contact, or vice versa. You can also search quick find. So you actually used this, Liz, in your quick find. So search now is so much smarter. Yeah. And you may have in past used a quick find and you're typing in validation rules and then it doesn't show you anything, or you misspell something. Well, now search is going to make that a lot easier for you in quick find and setup. So we've got some smart aliasing going on there, which is really fun. And there's tons more enhancements coming with security, encryption. That is for everything, Classic or Lightning. And then some really cool, exciting stuff coming up as well that I hope you take the time next week to check out, because I know there's going to be a lot more information about that. There's also our Lightning roadmap, just as a reminder and help in training. You can always go see what is on the roadmap, what is not on the roadmap, where things are at over multiple releases. And
keep your calls and letters coming.
Keep the calls and letters coming. Eric and Liz want to hear from you. And as a reminder, we've got tons of releases for you as an admin for the release. We've got Trailhead, the fun and easy way to learn Salesforce, all the things. We've now got a Lightning, I think we have a Lightning super badge on there too, which is exciting.
There's actually 2 Lightning super badges.
2 Lightning super badges, so you could be super badge-tastic. And we also have a special site on admin.salesforce.com that we've created, bit.ly release for admins. Very difficult to figure out. That's got all of our podcasts, which, Eric, you've been on the Salesforce Admins podcast. A
couple times, yeah.
And you survived. And I think now we got to get Liz on the Salesforce Admins podcast to talk about Report Builder, which would be awesome. So yeah, there's podcasts on there. There's blog posts, webinars, other presentations, things like that, events. So take a few minutes and go check that out. Help you get kind of your cliff notes for the release. And of course, the success community, which, speaking of the success community, I think it's time to see what people are talking about. So let me dive into that. So I pull that up. So the first question I want to ask before I get into the questions here is, I know that probably your favorite feature, Eric, is App Builder, and probably your favorite feature, Liz, is Report Builder. But if you were to pick another favorite feature in Lightning, What would your other favorite feature be, Eric?
I think the console is probably my other favorite feature. I think that console began life as a feature, a capability of Service Cloud, and that's really kind of what it was in Classic. It got extended to sales, but now it really is a core part of our platform and capable to be used for any type of app you're using for anything. And it's just pretty amazing what you can do. You can control the way tabs and sub-tabs open. You can navigate around. There's APIs for it. It's incredibly powerful.
Console is amazing. I totally agree with you. So he stole console, Liz. What are you going to pick?
Honestly, and this is not like to suck up, but like App Builder. Seriously?
I see what you guys did there. I see what you did there. That's pretty funny. No,
seriously, it's just like the power to like really customize those pages, and like I saw that feature the other day where you could do set the component visibility, and I was like, this is the most coolest thing ever. And so it's just like that power. It's actually like adding logic, like kind of like the clicks not code logic for like
we
admins.
love clicks not code as admins. Yes,
Yeah.
Cloudy
Cloudy.
loves clicks not code.
So yeah.
That's
Can't,
great.
can't write code with those hooves, but she can click like the best
She
of them.
can click. Yes, exactly. She's
Like
the
the
click
best of them.
master.
Exactly.
All right, so we have some questions coming in.
Okay.
So this is a question, and Eric, you can help answer this one. Will wrap text work in Classic as well?
So any of the features that we've been showing off about list views, anything really that we're here is a Lightning specific feature there. So that's where we're focusing our investment at this point, is building out great new experiences for Lightning.
And to that point, if you do work with adjusting wrap text or resize columns in Lightning, those changes will not reflect in your list views in Classic, correct?
We should double check.
We should double check.
We'll double check on that one.
We just made up a good question for us to answer. All right, another question related to list views. Can we use this new list view copy clone in Classic? Can we copy and clone a list view in Classic?
We've been able to do a save as in Classic. So basically this was bringing that from Classic to Lightning so that you don't need to switch back to Classic just to go and create a copy of a list view.
Yes, I remember discovering that the other way when I was trying to actually copy or clone a list view, and I had to switch to Classic, and come back to Lightning. But I don't have to do that anymore.
Exactly.
All right, so another question, would out of office also send an email? Is there a notification option? So that would depend on your chatter settings, right? But I don't think that if you put an out of office notification, it will automatically notify anybody else. But if you put it on your profile and somebody comments or @mentions you, it'll show up in that feed.
Yeah, I wonder if they're asking for a notification for the person who's @mentioning, which I don't think.
Yeah, Candy Weeks, we will get back to you and get some more clarity on an answer for you. Thank you for asking your question. All right, another question. Oh, this is a meaty one. Let's see. Maybe Eric can help us with this. When will Lightning make its way to the success community so everyone can start getting a touch and feel? I want to pin posts.
Oh, I see.
This is a good question.
That is a good one.
Jackie Force.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that one. It's a little different because Success Community is running on communities, which certainly is using Lightning components there. I think there's probably a little bit different roadmap for when you'll be able to pin post there, but we should follow up.
Yeah,
with them.
and it's a good CTA to join the community's Release Readiness Live session next week. That they will go deep into there's a lot of new things coming to communities. So Jackie Force, join in the community session next week. All right. Does a user receive a notification that the calendar has been shared with them from Made in SF Florida? Made in SF Florida. Are you made in San Francisco? I want to know that. No. So let's see. So if you receive a notification that the calendar has been shared with you, I'm not entirely sure of that, but we will check in and let you know. Good question. See, this is why we do these things, to get your feedback, and then you ask your question Success Community or Twitter, and we will respond to you. All right, so this is a question for you, Liz. Is the ability to create a dashboard to run as specified role instead of specified user on the roadmap?
I will have to get back to you on that. I believe it is, but yeah, that's another person on my team who can find out for sure. I'll have to follow up on that.
Excellent. I had never even used that feature before, so I didn't even know about that one. Good question. SFDC_R dash. Yeah, that's her username. That's creative. I like it. All right. Let's see. Lots of questions about out of office, so we'll answer those in the Success Community. All right, how about, are there any features in the new Lightning Report Builder that do not translate to the classic Report Builder? Liz?
So far, no, and that actually brings up a good point that I didn't mention earlier, and it's about like backwards compatibility of reports created in Lightning Report Builder versus Classic. And it was definitely a requirement for us that any reports that you create, it doesn't matter if you use the Classic Builder or the Reporting Builder, they're interchangeable in terms of how you edit it. So it doesn't matter. You can flip back and forth. So there's no incompatibilities in that sense. It's just that in Lightning Report Builder currently, because we don't have bucketing supported, you can't add buckets there, but you can add it in Classic, and then you can still open up the report in Lightning to do other changes to it, but you can't make changes to the bucketing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Another question about access to the Lightning Report Builder. So the question is from Amit Parker on Twitter. Is the Lightning Report Builder not available in the Developer Edition?
It should be available, but it's not on
I think this
all.
is a question of the automatic enable, or it's not automatically visible or enabled, right?
Exactly. So number one, it has to be turned on in setup, but also you might not see that configuration in setup if you're not an existing pre-release or sandbox org. We haven't turned on that configuration for you yet in all the orgs. It's as we roll out Winter 18 to a lot of orgs, we're going to be turning on that configuration to you shortly after.
Yeah, so, and you can find out when you're getting the Winter 18 release by going to trust.salesforce.com. Has all of the windows, which you can find out when your instance will be upgraded to Winter 18. You know, we have kind of a staggered release window, so you can absolutely sign up for a pre-release org. You can get that actually link in the success community for Release Readiness. That's where I was demoing out of. That's what all of us were demoing out of in terms of a pre-release org, and that's where you can absolutely get access to this Lightning Report Builder and the dynamic pages and start playing around.
Or your sandboxes.
Or your sandboxes. Yes, if your sandbox has already been upgraded to the Winter 18 release, you can absolutely get in there and do that. Great. All right, so I have a question. So we're leading up to a little something called Dreamforce. Just, you know, a little shindig.
2 or 3 people, we're going to kind of get
It's
together.
going to be like this, you know?
Multiplied by 50, 60,000.
Yeah, ish, you know, it's just a small, intimate gathering.
Yeah.
So these are 2 pretty new features. If I am a new admin and I'm coming to Dreamforce and I want to learn more about these, what should I do?
You should come and live in Moscone West.
I love that answer, Eric.
Because we're going to have the developer area down on the ground floor. We're going to have the Lightning. We're going to have an entire floor of Lightning up on the 2nd floor of Moscone West. Come hang out with us. We'll talk about all of this and more.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, so like I believe in Dreamforce, when you're looking for sessions to attend, like there's I think it's a theme, like a Lightning theme. There's a lot of sessions. There's going to be a session on Lightning reports, at least one session on that. So you can look out for that and hang out. Like Eric said, hang out at Moscone West. There's going to be a lot of people around who can talk about Lightning.
There's lots of booths, and then the product team, the engineers will all be there. So it'd be a great time to come and talk with us, ask questions, but also give us some ideas about what you think about where it's at right now and where you'd love to see it go. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and we'll have other customer experts there too. So some of our MVPs who've been able to play with some of these features a little bit, help give some more context. It's going to be a great place to go and hang out. So there's so much love happening on Twitter right now for mass inline editing and for Report Builder. I'm sorry, Eric. Dynamic pages are getting a lot of love too, but there's some good GIFs going on, so you'll have some fun checking them out. So let's see if I can pick out another question here. All right, so is text wrapping with list view sticky? Will it stick when I log out and log back in? I believe it is.
I believe it is.
Which is one of the new things that we've got with Winter 18. So you take the time to make those settings, and then it will show up when you log back in, which is pretty cool. Lots of love for running Lightning reports without saving. Yay! So I think, Liz, you addressed this a little bit, but are buckets able to be used, and can they be permanent from report to port? And you talked about if you create a Lightning report in the report builder, you go back to Classic, you can add buckets, then you can work with that report in the Lightning
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you can make the edits to the bucket in Classic. You can't edit them in the Lightning Report Builder yet, but we're planning on supporting that shortly in the next release. I'm not sure if that question is about whether you can apply a bucket to multiple reports, though. And if it is, that's not available yet. I do know there is an idea in the Idea Exchange regarding that ability, but that's not available yet.
Got it. So there's also a lot of love for the related list quick links components.
As there should be.
Eric, what other kind of new components or changed components with Winter 18 that you would like to highlight for our admins?
So I think we covered a couple of those key ones there. We talked about the changes to the list view component, that it actually now is a proper list view component.
Yeah.
So as long as you put it basically on any of the wider regions of a page, you'll see a proper full list view there, and you get some of the capabilities like wrapping the text and things like that actually work in that list view component. We talked about the dashboard component, which is super awesome. And then one of the other updates there is that the tasks component has gotten some good updates there, and a little bit more configurability if you're putting that onto your home page. That's really some of the key ones there. And then I think we'll start to see some more in terms of what our developers start doing. Any developers that happen to be joining us on today's broadcast as well, we'll love to hear some of those enhancements. Some great new capabilities. So we'll see a lot. I expect to see a lot more custom components being built, and the beauty of that is, once again, our admins and our developers working together, and they can continue to do that and bring those components into the app builder.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what keeps popping up in the App Exchange for components as well. There's so many possibilities, and some of the developer updates that were just shared in the previous Release Readiness Live segment, I mean, gosh, they just kind of opened up a whole new world of things for developers to be able to build, which is pretty exciting. So let's see, there's some other amazing, some really good GIFs. So if you're watching and you're not on this hashtag Salesforce Live GIFs feed, this is a pretty amazing opportunity for you to go get your Friday fun in. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get one more question in here. So we have lots of people wanting dashboard subscription pilots, all kinds of excitingness. So dynamic pages. I'm excited to see people post what they're doing with dynamic pages.
So one of the things that I hear sometimes about dynamic pages is people are asking, what about the other types of pages?
Yeah.
Like the home page or the app pages. And so that's on our roadmap, is we're going to add the ability to have other types of things that you'll filter on. So perhaps only show a component if I'm in a particular profile, or perhaps even have a particular permission. Maybe show it based on where I am, or things along those lines. So we're going to work on adding more and more different types of information you can make your pages be dynamic based on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all huge wins for the button click admin audience. I'm so excited because I get to do more. I mean, this is stuff you'd have to use Visualforce for before, right? I mean, if even Visualforce could actually do the stuff that you wanted it to do, right? So it's pretty exciting. I want to thank you so much, both of you, for sharing the amazing innovations that your teams have been working on. Eric, Dynamic Paging's App Builder, 10th release, super exciting. Keep the good work up. And Liz, welcome to being in the Salesforce admin celebrity bubble, because I promise this report builder, I mean, you're going to have like people like coming with t-shirts with your face on them, and like,
I'm going to expect that now.
There'll be success community groups saying, shrine to Liz Gates, it's going to be awesome. So thank you so much for spending the time and highlighting some of these cool Winter 18 features with us.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of you for joining us on this amazing Aloha Friday for our admin preview, our live admin preview for Winter 18. Remember, there's tons of resources for you to get prepared for this release. Go to Trailhead, go to admin.salesforce.com. And if you've got some more time this afternoon, our MVPs are actually holding an MVP office hours directly after this broadcast. So you can find information about that on the Success community. You can also find it all over Twitter. MVPs are very good about promoting it. There's also information about that on admin.salesforce.com. So this is an opportunity for you to ask some more specific questions from our MVP customers. These are customers that have been using Salesforce extensively, and they're very passionate about helping others learn how to do so. So thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to see what you are going to do with Winter 18. And with that, we'll catch you next time in the cloud for more awesome.